Tubes, welcome back to the Zach Life. So this episode we're back inside. This is going to be, it's mechanically done enough to use, and I'm going to try to do the same thing on the inside. I'm going to try to get it finished enough that it's, you could go camping there right now, but I want walls and a sink and everything. But anyway, try to get ceiling put in it, walls put in it, enough cabinetry to put a sink in, door on the bathroom, door on the cabinets, etc. That's sort of my push from this point forward. So, in this episode, I'm going to work on the ceiling. Let me give you an idea, try to lay this out. What I'm going to do on the ceiling is it's going to have either 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch plywood. I hadn't decided. I think I'm probably going to go with halfway, not because it needs it, but just because it's stronger and it won't flex as much and weight doesn't really matter in something like this. But anyway, it's going to have plywood in the ceiling, painted that same color as in the back, that almost white. It's just a slight grayish blue, and then it's going to have bright white trim. I'm going to run trim around the perimeter, and then I'm going to run an X pattern with diagonal trim, like a board that's maybe 1/2 by 3 inches wide or something like that, 1/2 by 2.5, something like that. Anyway, run a diagonal trim, so it'll have like squares turned sideways. They won't run with the coach, they'll be sideways. I guess kind of a diamond, but not really a diamond. And anyway, the same pattern that the trim is going to run, I'm going to take 2x4s and run 2x4s diagonally across this coach to make the same pattern. The plywood will actually sit at a 45-degree angle. It'll have a bunch of funny cuts in it. But then when you put the trim up, the trim will hide all the seams and the screws in the plywood, or most of them. And I think it'll look really cool. And I'm going to put the can lights in the center of the diamond squares, or whatever, squares turned sideways. Anyway, if you remember the bedroom, one problem or whatever with this coach is when I built it, I had it on 8 blocks, and between those blocks the coach actually sagged like this. Now this is an exaggeration. If you look down the roof of it, you can see a little bit of a bow in it. Now, you can't see it from the outside. Looking at the outside is completely imperceptible, but if you look right down the roof of it, you can see it. Also, the joists, the C-purlins, above us that the roof's mounted on, are all flat on top, but they're actually a little bit different variation in the height of the factory C-purlins, and I think this is because either if they're turned a little bit, or if they're not quite crimped and bent in quite as big of a C. If the C is sort of open a little bit, it makes them taller. Those two things combined make it to where you probably could, but I don't want to, just put the plywood directly on them. I'm afraid you would see those high and low spots. And so what I'm going to do is take a 2x3 and run the perimeter of the room, and then also on that X pattern as I described. And in those, I'm going to cut with a dado stack. I believe I hadn't decided exactly how I'm going to notch it, but notch it so that it fits up in that C-purlin. Now I'm going to take a chalk line. So what I'm fixing to do is snap a chalk line that's 3/4 of an inch down from either end joist, and then I can take and measure from the chalk line up to each joist to get a number of 3/4 or 5/8 or 7/8 or whatever, and cut those notches in different depths so that when you stick that 2x3 up there, the bottom of it's perfectly level. Once I get the sides done, then I can do the cross patterns and everything. Let's do it. Alright, that's all today, folks. I gotta go to town and get some stuff, get some lumber, and some golden chicken maybe, and I'll catch y'all later. Hope you can hear me. It's 102 today. I got both air conditioners running full blast. So I got my chalk line popped. I've taken a ruler up there. You probably can't see, but I've written up here. I've taken a ruler and measured from the top of the joist to my blue line, and then written down right there. And there's actually not much sag in it, not nearly what I thought. I guess most of that was actually in the back half, which makes sense. It starts off like 5/8 of an inch and 3/4, and the lowest it gets a 1/2 inch, so it's like only an 1/8 to 1/4 maximum deviation, and I think most of that is just sporadic. There's not actually much sag in it. I'm just going to go down here and hold the board up, and then mark where the board's at, and then write on the board what my number was. So I've got my dado stack installed here. This circuit, this table saw is not set up to use one. This is probably kind of dangerous, but so is everything else I do. You can't put the little plate thing back in here. But anyway, this should cut a 3/4 inch wide swath, and I'm just going to eyeball my marks I made here. This is set for 3/4. I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch first to kind of get my blade depth correct, and then we'll go through here and finish it off. Just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that other board up there and mark it, and then I'll go ahead and cut that and get all these cut. I'll show you here in a minute. I'm gonna set it off the wall roughly 3/4 of an inch just by eyeball. And my 1/2 inch wall will just go up behind it, and then when I put a piece of trim, of course the actual ceiling will butt up against the wall too. When I put a piece of trim up there, the trim will go against the wall and cover any gap. Must have been a wire there. So I got this other one up over here. The next thing I can do is take a straight edge and go side to side, measure from that straight edge up to the joist, and that'll tell me exactly how high or how much space I need between them. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a deal laid out here. Now I need to run the the joist or whatever you would call it at a 45-degree angle, so that the edges of my board, my plywood I put up there, meet the joist. Now my plywood's going to run at a 45-degree angle and don't have a bunch of weird cuts in it. But anyway, I'm just going to run the ones that go this direction. There won't be any this direction, and the plywood will sit this way in like a 22 or a 44 by 88 sheet or something. I don't remember. The math came out pretty complicated. You know, I just laid it out in the CAD program. It's a bunch of really odd numbers. But anyway, I'm going to get up there, start doing some marking, start cutting some wood, and see what I get done. So I've got the front like 2/3 of the boards or something up, you know, they're back to about where you're at right here. I'm going to start with some insulation, get some insulation in there, and I'm going to start putting the ceiling up. I can't do it all at the same time because I'll cover my lights up, so I'm going to try to do the front part of it, put a couple of can lights in, and then sort of move on to the back. So now there's a gap right here between the plywood of the ceiling and the 2x4, which was originally the structure for the air conditioner cutout. And I've just cut out some piece of wood and I'm going to stick in here. It fit pretty snug, and it'll hopefully fit. A little bit snugger than I wanted. So these come with these little divider things. I don't know what you call these. I hadn't installed them yet. What these do is keep the cold air and the return air from mixing. And they when they go in your slots, you're supposed to cut them off depending on what your thickness of your ceiling is. But mine's just about the limit of what you can do, and so I didn't have to cut mine off. So I lost you there for a second. On the air conditioner in the back, I had trouble. This piece bowed like this, and so what I've done here is taken a couple of screws and drilled a couple of holes to hold the sides down before I pull these bolts up. It just kind of had it bowed down, and the plastic piece that goes over it wasn't pulled up quite flat against the ceiling. The proper way to sharpen a pencil. I need to put in a couple of lights, and so I'm going to square up the lights inside where the trim is going to be. So I'm going to take my big level and mark where they need to go and put a couple of lights in. Well, I got them in. I absolutely love these lights. They put on a really good light. Here's the what they are: Halo 6-inch LED. I think there's another one right here and one back there. I'm gonna have to look at my blueprints. I don't remember where they're at. So I got all these internal welds. I gotta grind all these flush. Make sure all this insulation is sub-flush. Probably not going to show it all. I'll knock this out and I'm going to start putting some wood up. So I'm going to take some strips of this plywood that I've already cut and put Tip-on glue on either side of it, slip it back behind this these sheets of plywood, so that I'll have something that glues the face to face together. So when I take and bed this, I'm still what I'm going to do on the inside of this is still completely up in the air. I'm really not sure I kind of explained the ceiling. The ceiling's going to be painted and have like an X pattern of trim, but as far as the walls, I really don't know. I don't really like what I did in the bedroom. I thought about doing wallpaper, but I couldn't really find any wallpaper that weren't just absolutely gag-a-maggot type patterns. And it looked like something that belonged to a grandma's house or an RV. I don't know. I thought about trying to, there's some companies that make some like whole wallpaper mural type things, like a Route 66 kind of map type thing. I thought about doing like a full map maybe on this side or something. I don't know. I feel like those might be not real durable. Anyway, I don't know why I got off of this tangent, but anyway, I'm going to take and put strips of plywood, where these plywood come together and glue them together so that there's less ability for those to separate. You know, an interesting fact, this coach actually grows and shrinks by almost a 5/8 of an inch, like something like that, 550 thousandths at 100-degree temperature change, which I've seen more than 100-degree temperature change just in the last 5 months. So it may be closer to 3/4 of an inch overall length from end to end. It's pretty interesting. So the next thing I'm going to do is cover up this area right here that's got the breaker box and stuff in it, or the back side of the breaker box. I'm going to cut a piece of plywood to go there, and then down here I need to build the step and the piece that goes across here. I think that's going to be the next step. Right on the money. This lip is a little bit proud. It's not bad, but just enough. And I'll just take my router, put a bearing bit on it, and just run down here and make this smooth. Like right there. When you got something really nice, if you cut it, it's a little bit proud. It's a really easy way to fix that. Well, golly, I got everything in my hair you can imagine. Hang you around and show you hair because you've already seen it. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and call this video. I'm out of plywood and I don't really want to buy any more. You know, my Suburban's been full of plywood for like a year or however long it's been. And it's empty. I think probably the, you know, finishing this stuff up, no use really videoing it, it may pop up, but y'all get the idea of what's going on. I'd like to wait probably till I kind of get ready to build cabinets and all that kind of stuff, and then I'll just, or probably till I get ready to do the interior walls, I guess, as far as, you know, tape and bedding the seams and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, probably just wait on that. I don't want to go buy any more plywood right now. I don't know what else, but I guess that's kind of where we're at. But I guess I'm gonna go and call this video. So like I always, appreciate you watching, and catch you on the next one.